Florida. That was probably number one, and that it was close to water. And I talked to the people that you call when you first want to come. She had nothing but great things to say about this facility, and she made me feel very comfortable. And the equine therapy, I was always been interested in it. My mom is a mental health counselor and always wanted to do the equine therapy, and I loved it. I was 2 years ago, I went to a PHP program in Orlando. So I was there for 6 hours out of the day and then I went home. So it's a little different to compare because I wasn't a resident, but the difference was mainly in the classes. Because even though here it was the same structure where there were more dual diagnosis than there was just mental health, but at the other place they dismissed me because I do always have a smile on my face. I always do seem like I'm uplifting, but it's not always, but it's sometimes a mask. And because I was one of the few people that worked full time and I was going to work while I was doing that, they just kind of dismissed me. And I didn't get to see my counselor. I saw her once in 4 weeks. So, and then when I came here, having the open arms, that was, like, I didn't talk to people for 3 or 4 days at the other place because nobody approached me. And now I know that I need to approach people, but that and my counselors, the staff here is great. Therapists were awesome, Jess is wonderful, and the way they fit you with your therapist, she just seemed to click with me and help me through the problems. My first impression, I was scared. You know, because I'd never faced my demons before, but came here and it felt like a vacation spot. Growing up, I vacationed on the beach a lot, being from Florida, so that was comforting. I didn't feel like I was in an institution. I didn't have 4 walls around me and it didn't smell like formaldehyde. Coming in, I really didn't have too many expectations. I didn't know what to expect. I knew I was going to work on myself, and I wasn't trying to think about the last experience I had with the other place that I went to. So I kept an open mind. But of course, one of my main expectations was to be better by the time I left, because when I got here, I was broken. And just through the weeks that I've been here, I've been able to put those pieces together. I'm not fully put together, but I've learned the coping skills that I know in my head, but I've never learned how to use them. And they've taught me that. It's like a vacation, it's like a hotel room. Actually it's like my dorm room in college. Because you have a roommate, you've got to respect their things, you expect them to respect your space. So it wasn't much different than going to college. Group therapy, in the beginning, you're kind of standoffish because you're scared to tell people your interpersonal feelings. But through, I think it only took a week after getting to know the people, like in the evenings when we're on our downtime, you learn to trust them and realize they're here for the same reason you are. They're broken in one way or another. And so you learn to open up to them and you feel safe. The individual therapy sessions were great because then you can open up even more, especially with my therapist. She was great and made me feel safe. Well, we started EA groups, emotional anonymous groups here, because coming here when you're here for just mental health, you still have to attend the AA and ARCA groups, and we started an emotional anonymous group, and that was always my favorite because I got to sit with people that I had something in common with and I didn't feel alone anymore. What's nice is it starts off with a routine. You have to get up at 6 o'clock. You can go back to sleep after you get your meds, but you just have this routine, and when you start following it, you feel better. You feel like you don't want to, for me, I didn't want to go escape into my bed and not deal with the real world. Going through the classes, sometimes you feel like they're a little overwhelming, but if you sit there and know that you're here for yourself and you you soak in everything that they tell you, or as much as you can handle, you get through the day pretty easily. And then the nights are nice, because then you get to know your fellow residents here and form bonds with people you probably would have never met. The tools that I learned, I was able to, stuff that I didn't even realize, that I know having depression and having anxiety, I always thought something was wrong with me and everything was my fault. And here I learned, no, you just have to change your behaviors. And I think the biggest lesson I've learned here is I can't control other people. I can only control my own emotions. The friendships that I've formed here with a lot of the people, because the support that you get from the residents is uncomparable. Also, just the being with the therapist, finally finding a therapist that understood, and the one-on-one, those two I'll take away the most. Even though you're scared, still take that first step. And once you get here, know that you're here for you. You're not here for anybody else. The world is going to go on. You may not think it's the right time. It's never the right time. But you've got to take this time for yourself if you want to be better.